Jason worked as a taxi driver for a large company. He didn't earn much money and couldn't afford his own car, so every day he drove whichever taxi the company assigned him. Jason was handsome, and female passengers often invited him to parties or asked him out, but he always politely declined. The reason was simple: he was in love. The woman he loved was named Maria Morrison, though he had never actually spoken to her. He knew her name from a painting that hung in the city art gallery. Every single day, Jason would stand before that painting and gaze at the beautiful woman in the red satin dress, adorned with diamonds and emeralds. He had bought a catalogue from the gallery with a small photograph of the painting, and he kept it beside his bed. Sometimes, when he was alone in the gallery, he would even talk to her portrait. The sad truth was that Maria Morrison had died in 1937, but Jason couldn't help his feelings. He knew it was foolish, yet he was certain he would never love anyone else. Jason took his job seriously. Although his shift ran from 7 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon, he always arrived an hour early to clean his taxi. The company had a rule that drivers should clean their vehicles after each shift, but many ignored it. Jason couldn't stand driving a dirty car, so he cleaned it before starting work instead. One morning, the office manager assigned him taxi number 407. The previous driver, Billy, had left it filthy. Jason cleaned the exterior first, then tackled the inside. He found empty cans and a pizza box near the driver's seat. As he cleaned the back, something shiny caught his eye on the floor. It was an earring, delicate and beautiful. Something about it seemed familiar, but he couldn't quite place it. Company policy required him to turn in any lost items, but Jason slipped the earring into his pocket instead. He wanted time to think. After his shift, Jason went home and examined the earring carefully over coffee. Suddenly, recognition struck him. He rushed to his bedroom and grabbed the gallery catalogue. His hands trembled as he compared the earring to Maria Morrison's portrait. They were identical. The earring featured the same emeralds and diamonds. If they were real, this piece of jewelry was extremely valuable. Jason knew he should report his find, but something stopped him. He wanted to return the earring directly to its owner. That evening, he returned to the taxi company and waited for Billy. When the tired driver finally arrived, just after midnight, Jason pressed him for information about his passengers from the previous night. Billy could barely remember, but eventually recalled taking a young woman to a cheap hotel. She had seemed upset. When Billy left, Jason sneaked into the office and checked the computer records to find which hotel Billy had mentioned. The next morning, being his day off, Jason stationed himself outside the small, shabby hotel. He watched people come and go for hours, growing tired and hungry, but he had no idea who he was looking for. Frustrated and discouraged, he finally gave up and headed to the art gallery, hoping somehow Maria would guide him. When Jason arrived at the gallery, his heart sank. Someone was standing in front of Maria's portrait. He waited nearby, and then something extraordinary happened. The young woman began speaking to the painting, and she was crying. Jason listened as she poured out her story to her great-grandmother's portrait. Her name was Megan. She had come from a small town to find work in the city, against her father's wishes. Her grandmother had given her a pair of precious earrings for good luck. The only valuable things left from their once wealthy family. She had gotten a job and gone on a date wearing the earrings, but the man had frightened her. She had fled in a taxi and only later discovered she had lost one earring. Without it, she felt she couldn't return home or face her family. She was lost and afraid. Jason's heart pounded. He waited, half expecting the painting to respond. But Maria's eyes seemed to be looking directly at him instead of Megan. Suddenly understanding what he needed to do, Jason called out, startling the young woman. Megan turned, tears streaming down her face. Jason introduced himself and reached into his pocket. When he placed the earring in her hand, she stared at it in disbelief, calling it a miracle. Jason simply explained that he had found it and that he loved the painting, which had helped him locate her. He kept his deeper obsession to himself. As they talked, Jason realized that Megan was even more beautiful than the woman in the portrait. His heart began to feel something new, something real. Gathering his courage, he asked if she would like to have coffee with him. Megan smiled and agreed, but first turned back to the painting to thank her great-grandmother for helping her, promising to visit often. As they walked toward the gallery exit, Jason glanced back one final time at Maria Morrison's portrait. He raised his hand in a quiet farewell.